And we are live. How is it going, everybody? These wascally NDs, I tell you. Um, Tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel, different day. Dr. Glenn is on an airplane right now, so we will be doing the live Q&A and discussion with him tomorrow. I am, as you can maybe see from this, dying to ask him some questions after going through almost the entire uh, membership site and its videos. Oh, British Columbia is contacting us again, trying to figure out what that's all about. Let's see.
Call from
Walter Valmy.
Hello?
Hi, are you Dr. Glenn?
No, I am not Dr. Glennon, but Dr. Glennon will be here to do our live Q&A tomorrow at the same time. He had to
Tomorrow,
reschedule.
because
He's
the website says on Wednesday.
no, it
Okay,
doesn't.
so tomorrow 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah, this isn't his office.
Can I call
The web.
tomorrow?
Yes, of course. But this isn't his office. This is
Okay,
the live.
also one more question.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
No. What's up?
Yeah, I will call tomorrow, but in the meantime, I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
I may proceed with the consultation. How much is the consultation?
Again, I'm not Dr. Glidden. I'm not his office. This is the
Okay,
Dr.
okay.
Glidden show. His website. If how did you find my info? Because the website is there too. If it's in the description of one of the videos, you'll
Yeah,
see because his phone number for his office is on
myself,
there. Let me go ahead and find it for you. Hold on.
myself.
I'm scrolling down to find it for you. Hold on. It is 855. You got a pen? Hello?
I don't have. I'm driving right now.
Okay. Well, leave Big Pharma behind
Yeah, I will
.com.
call tomorrow.
All right.
I will call tomorrow at the same time, 11 o'clock, right?
That's when we start. Yeah. But usually we take calls about a half hour in.
Okay, 11:30 then, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm with Dr. Wallach. Long time. I spoke repeatedly with his wife, Dr. Ma,
Awesome.
and I know that Dr. Bean is working in the same, path with
Yep.
minerals and Dr. Wallach and blah blah blah. So I have a couple questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that'll be a good conversation. Just go
Yeah,
ahead and
tomorrow.
call back tomorrow and we'll get you on, okay?
Yeah, I am in Canada, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw it
Good.
come up
See
as
you
British
tomorrow.
Columbia. All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Well, there we go. We have a British Columbia person. I think he said he was also a doctor or whatever. The newer change of events in Dr. Glenn's life in the last I don't know how many years, but when he met up with Dr. Andre Sane, who's really good at homeopathy, Dr. Glenn's been able to help me tremendously multiple times with those little magic white pellets. Very, very, very good at what he does. All right, so since we're here and we just recently discovered that he's on a plane and that he'll be here tomorrow, what say you that we do another test stuff? Or should I just turn down and start working on other stuff and then come back later? What do you think? Karen's in the house. We'll give Karen the and whoever else is in to yeah, I got my coffee for sure. I drank tea this morning. I had 3 packets left of oolong tea and I just put them in a 16-ounce like or a pint glass, right? And then a little bit of monk fruit to make it sweet. I like oolong tea. Jasmine green tea is pretty good too. I think that's the stuff that they typically give you when you're at like a Chinese restaurant. There's a certain taste to the Chinese restaurant tea that I always liked, at least the ones that I went to. So let's hear back. Hey, Mike Garland. I have company still. I popped in to say hi. Okay, Karen. So how about this? How about we go forward, move ahead? It's not too late to whip it, and we just go ahead and throw on a best of, or I can just go over some other things, or we could just say hasta la pasta, and we'll start off tomorrow. It's your choice. It was I didn't find this out until about 10 after, a little bit after. He said, yeah, I think he had his. He thought it was. I think he had ours scheduled with tomorrow. You know, it's actually kind of interesting though. I gotta make sure that we're not conflicting with his own, or it's gonna be something like he's gonna be just getting off of his own live and then coming out. I got to let me check the look at that schedule. So I don't want him to conflict. Let's see. I'll just show it to you so you know what I'm doing too. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know if it's gonna follow me or not. Hopefully, let's try it. So when I go into members, I go into live Q and A. Let's see what you guys see. You guys see the Q and A page? Oh, you do. All right, cool. Well, that's good. A lot of times when you change, even on the same site, like if you change to another page, StreamYard doesn't follow you there. That's why I don't like to use StreamYard is more Jitsi. It's Jitsi grounded, right? It's just Gypsy structure, and it's not like OBS at all. OBS is a lot more fluid for workflow, and it just operates better, in my opinion, especially if you're sharing videos and stuff. So I was already here. Hold on. Let me go to his schedule. Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. his time, and then 1 p.m. would be his time for us. So he gets an hour in between before he comes back on. Because 1 o'clock his time is 11 o'clock mine, at least this time of year. And then it'll be 12 o'clock my time when it switches. We stay still, everybody else moves. I am so small on this screen. I really wish StreamYard got their shit together for the amount that they charge you. It's so bad. I think they're leaving this afternoon, but I don't know. Okay. Your invasion will be over. Have they already pillaged the village? Karen. So medical insights page. I am going to show you something to you. Now, I have watched. I didn't watch this one because this is hard for me to even look at. Like as far as memories, I don't want to even contemplate. I don't want that demon even anywhere near my life. So, of the C word. So, anyway, after surgery care, I think is the only one I haven't watched on this row. The blood work isn't a video; it just tells you like what you should be kind of ballparking, I guess. And I went through all these. This one is really, really in depth. And so when you look at these topics, they'll say this, but I mean, when you get into the other things that he builds up a foundation and a background. And there's so many other things that you learn about in the process of getting, you know, further details and more understanding of the actual topic that is the title of the video. Each one of them is a journey, even if you don't think that you're going to be interested in them. That's the one thing I found because I was going through these because I had made it I had proposed an idea that if I saw anything that I thought he would want to update, that I just made some timestamps for him and then share them with him. So I started going through all these videos, and I was on the elliptical, so I'd jump off and write down a timestamp, jump back on the elliptical, and that's how I was kind of doing it. And I did that for like all these videos, but each one of them, like I was like, oh, I gotta go through it because I said I'd do it, but I'm not really interested in the topic, or I think I've got it covered with the other thing. Every one of them, I've learned something else. This 5 laws of homeopathy is really good. It's a really good video, even though I thought I had already had that. There was, however way he presents it, if there's a new detail, it's like awesome. It's like when you get the deleted scenes, when you get the enhanced like DVD or whatever or Blu-ray, and it's like, ah, man, having why did they take that out? That was such a good part, and give you more of an explanation of things. It's all well rounded now. Was that just for brevity and time? Test audiences, like why did they take that out? Yeah. So it's been like that the whole way through. Um, and I was watching a couple. there's a decent amount on the health recovery protocol. Some of them are descriptions, like his book, where it tells you what the MD thinks, what the MD thinks caused it. And let's just look at one of these because it's kind of like nutty. Some of them. This one's gonna have a video, but right underneath it, it's like the MD cause. Everything is unknown, and let's just verify that. Chronic kidney disease. Ready? Cause unknown. They don't know what causes anything, so that means they don't know what the root cause of anything is, and yet they're going to claim that they're going to be able to. They don't even claim that they're going to cure it or fix it. They're going to manage it. What does that mean? They're going to make, in one way, shape, or form, they're either going to excite something in the body or they're going to suppress something so that you don't notice it as much. But the root problem that your body's yelling out to you saying, we need help, give us a little assistance over here, guy. Stop shoveling all that inflammatory garbage down your gullet, and get us some of the minerals that we need so we can actually function at our optimal level, and then maybe this will go away. Instead of that, and the MD not telling you that you need these simple things, you go on and you carry on, and the prescription's ripping you, robbing you of even more of your mineral nutrients and other ones. And as time goes on, the body has to express itself in another way now because you're not paying attention to what it's saying to you when you have the MD prescription over its mouth. So it's like, all right, well, bob and weave and find another way to get your attention. So this is why it's so dangerous to go to MDs because their objective and their goal or their mission is not what you think it is because they're not trying to cure it. They're not trying to fix the problem. They're not even trying to figure out what the problem is, and they don't want to know any of the details. If you say something, it's a generic. Everybody gets the same bowl of cereal, the same candy, the same whatever. You know, it's all the same prescription. And oh boy, if they're pushing one, you're gonna get that one. If the pharmaceutical rep says if you sell enough of these, or if you get enough of these prescriptions out, there's a bonus and this and that, and next thing you know, you'll be in Aruba. Guess what they're gonna push? Everybody wants to swim with the sea rays. Come on. It's just a shame that people like Steve Irwin are the ones that get slapped with the tail and not one of the MDs. So then you see, and this is just how it goes all the way around though. When you look at like high blood pressure, what's the cause? And there's this, like I said, there's videos for it. But if you scroll down, cause unknown. Well, that's useful. Unknown hormonal imbalances, menopause. The solution: your body's stupid. Take some synthetic hormones. And the ND cause: liver sluggishness, cholesterol deficiencies. That way, and if you're on a cholesterol restrictive or fat restrictive diet, and you're hoping that you're also going to have all of the hormones that your body is signaling, so that things happen in your body. If you don't have the things that build those, the cholesterol, then how are you going to have proper levels? So rather than just take the stuff that your body can produce its own, they're going to give you something that's foreign to your body with contaminants, and it's obviously not good, and it'll shut down your natural production. Well, that's awesome. Essential nutrient deficiencies, polypharma, that's also going to affect you because again, it's swiping these from you. Consistent consumption of pro-inflammatory foods. Menopause is not a disease, it's a time of life. If anyone becomes symptomatic for more than 3 months at the onset of menopause, then it reflects the lack of the internal strength, health balance of their body. MDs not believing in the vital force throw synthetic hormones into the mix, attempting to overpower the hormonal system. This is never a good idea. You hear that, fitness people out there? It's never a good idea. I don't care if you're having menopause or if you just want to build more muscle, and you think you get some crazy arbitrary number in your head that's gonna do it. I want 1,200. I want 800. I'm at 460, 450. Are you just picking? Are you just picking numbers out of the air? Or are you listening to a coach that doesn't know anything either because they're all founded on the same mindset as the MDs? Otherwise, you wouldn't even be considering that option in the first place. That's how you know if you're a coach or you're a fitness, uh, whoever your fitness advisor is, if they have their head on their shoulders or if they're just going to follow the allopathic uh, cult leaders up in front. Oh, with the science that's also controlled by them and the studies that are also controlled by the drug companies say that this is fine and safe and effective. The FDA only is there to serve those entities, not anything else. It's not there to keep you safe, as you can see by their track record. They're also there to raid you if you happen to be like a vitamin provider or something like that, God forbid. Therefore, therapeutic support. Oh, say, hold on. It's never a good idea. The body uses the liver to help regulate the hormones. The hypothalamus, which is part of the brain, is also involved. Yes, it's hypothal- hypothalamus pituitary ovaries versus hypothalamus pituitary testes, HPT, for males. Therefore, therapeutic support of both of those is indicated. The best way to help the liver is with the 21-day beet juice program outlined in Appendix 13. That's actually just right on this page now. The best way to help the hypothalamus is with the Good Herbs product hypothalamus support. Homeopathy, if it matches the symptomology, can also be a great blessing here. And of course, you have to have your nutrients and get rid of the 12 bad foods. So that's just one little example, but every one of that we look at, what's the cause? It's viral infection. Well, that's already obviously wrong because there's no viruses. Show me one. Show me a fucking virus, and I'll stop telling me to take injections. And so this is going to be on the medical insights page as well because it's important. What to do to make yourself healthy. Yeah, they tell you bad genes, weak willpower, and a stomach that is too big. You were just born all messed up, right? It's your fault. That's what they say. You were a mistake. That's very Darwinian and Thomas Malthusian of them to say so. Osteoporosis? They don't know. It's a funny thing that they for somebody who claims, or for an institution that claims totalitarian dictatorship over your health, they don't seem to know very much, do they? So there you go. Curative Medicine podcast, the interviews. He used to have his own radio show like 5 days a week. And yeah, there you go. So you guys can check that out. We've had a couple new sign ons, and it would be cool to get like 10 more just to make an arbitrary goal because I'm just going to raise it once we reach it. But yeah, you guys should definitely be on this to get the information. And he has the live Q&As himself. Like I said, tomorrow he's going to have one, and then he's going to have an hour break, and then he's going to be on with us again. So there we go. When you look down here, you'll see some of the archives and the chat. And it's going to populate. There it goes. So if you just click on these, they're all. They go back quite a ways. I mean, there's enough there for you to look at and get an idea of what's going on. And you can ask your questions to him directly on his site, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you get 2 extra hours with him when you're a member. And just the fact that it's taken me so long to get through all that site, there's a ton of information there. And he's also adding stuff as well. So if you are not already on it, you should be. Let's go to remove. Yeah, so I don't know. We can start an old episode or I can just kind of drift off to the sunset and come back with a different thing. I have no idea what's gonna transpire in the next 6 days, but it's gonna be so close if I eke it out. So very close, too close, too close, too close for comfort. It's been one of those months. Anyhow, let me just go ahead and explain some other things that are going on here. Related, I had intended on going over this with Dr. Glidden while he was here. And if you are here and you're like, so this is weird. It's got to be because everybody's doing their occupations. Because when I do the evening shows, there's a lot more people that shuffle in, and it's kind of strange that when you have Dr. Glidden here, that there wouldn't be more. But we used to have a bunch, so I'm just assuming that it's because we changed days and we changed times that things have been a little bit different. Maybe people have to get adjusted to that. But I have a lot of questions about omega 6s and omega 3s to ask him. And it's important because there's a whole conflation with balance that between the two, and not all omega 6s are inflammatory. Even though your body needs them, it's an essential. You can make omega 9s. You can't make omega 6s or 3s. So that's what makes it essential. But an ALA versus like a GLA. Like a GLA is omega 6, but it's not inflammatory. It's a gamma linoleic acid. So how do you know what is what and what products have a higher concentration? So if they say it's omega 6 and you're like, "Whoa, that's a lot and that's going to be way more inflammatory versus the anti-inflammatory, which is the omega 3s." But there's a factor there with the GLAs. So how do you figure out what the GLA content is of that total number that they tell you is omega 6? Is there anybody that even looks into that? So that's one of the big things I wanted to know, because no food in nature has that 1 to 2 or a 1 to 5 ratio really. And I don't think, people say you should try to target that. Well, if it didn't happen in nature that way, I don't think that's accurate. It would be more something that you could attain in a natural way. Otherwise, those numbers can't be right, 1 to 5 or whatever. But with that variable of the GLA as an anti or non-inflammatory, then it makes more sense, because not the whole measure of the omega 6, not all of it's anti is going to be causing inflammation. So there's a really good information on the preservative video. If you haven't been on the site, you should go click that. Use Fitwit or Ballbusters for 25% off. Click that. Oh, you're not on. You can't see my screen right now, can you? It's StreamYard. So lame. It's always like that. I guess let's go like that. All right. I shouldn't be able to see that. All right, so go ahead and slap this right here, and then it's Fitwit for 25% off, or you can use Ballbusters. 25% off the membership site. And we've had 165 people now from this show since Dr. Glenn and I started doing this. I didn't even have an affiliate link. We didn't have any of that set up when we first started talking. Over time, we decided to get it going, and that's 165 people. It's pretty good. We should probably crack 200 this year. Got a few more months left. We should probably do 10 a month, honestly. Like, I don't see why that wouldn't be difficult. The information is freaking amazing. So what was I going out with? Excuse me. I think I'm still burping that cucumber from yesterday. One cucumber. Burped for the whole entire day afterward. What was I look? Okay, so the preservative video, it's all in alphabetical order, but it's not. I guess unless you're okay. So they're using the minerals, not the essential. So I guess okay, we'll give it that. Maximize absorption. Yeah, don't eat bad food that screws up your stomach. So the preservatives one is more like you were like, what preservatives? Why is that? Why does that deserve an hour and 10 minutes? Trust me, this is a freaking good video, and it gets into debunking something that I believed so much that it altered the way I did things with my own hot sauce business, and I refuse to like use this thing, and I don't, and it's about sodium benzoate, and it's because of a misconception. And I looked into it, and sure enough, because I didn't believe it before, I'm like, that's because they want you to be poisoned. No, no, it's because it's not like, yeah. You got to look at it to understand what I'm talking about. It's a little bit complicated, but it's also kind of I don't know, uplifting, I guess, to know that you don't have to freak out that much about it. But it's still, they put it in things that don't doesn't need it often. Voodoo Ranger, what's up, buddy? And then down here, so this is what I wanted to show you. Okay, so recently I started. Why does it say CW? Is that like, hmm, all right, CW it is. So recently I started this new Patreon. So it's for the holistic fitness revolution. I've been studying up on this topic and a great many other things. I never stop reading, and I am a certified personal trainer. I've been doing this probably since I was 14, like getting really seriously into fitness and weightlifting and some of the things that I have been doing for years that no one else that I've seen do, even like when I was in my mid 20s and I was really hitting the gym like super hard, like at least obviously every day, but maybe twice a day. A lot of it had to do with I was doing a lot of crunches and cardio, and I, going through the circuit of the weight, but I just never got. I would be completely exhausted, beaten, and like all the way to failure. But in a couple minutes, I was ready to hit it again. So I guess I was taking advantage of the energy that I had, and I just kept going. And I just, I didn't say, okay, well, 4 sets, we're good. No, and I just kept going until I ran out of time. And people say, oh, that's not because you don't go hard enough. Like, no, my arms are basically falling off, but it was just, it feels so good to like activate them that I would just keep going and going. Now, let me see if you guys see what I see. Do you see what I see? Looks like you can. So, this is a coaching and support channel for the Fitwit that's on YouTube, and there's actually one on Rumble as well for the Fitwit. But classes are going to be added here. Simple step by step processes so you can get into making yourself healthier and stronger and look better and look healthier because I look healthier than I did a year ago. I had more energy. I had more complaints back then. My back always bothered me my whole life. It's not nearly as bad anymore. And I used the elliptical for 4 miles a day. So I would start to get numbness behind my hip here sometimes, but usually the pain is in my my lumbar area. So that's been something that's been going on since I was like 16. There was something going on. I jarred something or whatever, and they said I have a little bit of scoliosis, but I'm still able to do all the things that I do. And I've got a lot of pointers for how you can get things done without being discouraged, without having to do a massive life change all up front, all at once. There's a gradual process to work yourself into this. And right now, this is just one video and then a link to the YouTube. The reason for that, number one, is time constraints. Number two, this is kind of set up for an interface for a one-on-one for the top tier. And when I first, have somebody sign up, set up a time to do a one-on-one, and that can actually be through StreamYard. You just don't record, so both can see. And if you wanted to record, I think you're allowed to record on the other side because I pay for the service. So as we're talking, you could probably hit the record button on your side. if you wanted to keep a documentation of it, since we're going to be discussing things and you don't have to remember it all and all that stuff. But it's going to be figuring out what the goals are in the first like one-on-one, what it is you want to accomplish. What is it? Is it, this, that, the other thing? Is it energy levels are low? Is it, you know, you want to lose a little bit of stubborn fat you can't get rid of, or a lot of it that you can't get rid of? Like, what's your level of commitment to that goal? And are you willing to listen when I make suggestions? If yes, then just understand I have the backing of the information that not just Dr. Wallach has put forth, but also Dr. Monzo and Dr. Glidden, that I've not just from watching his site, but from all of our talks and from everything that I've I've read all of his books. I've done a lot of different research on my own, and I've been actively testing this stuff out. Just on keto alone, I could teach people a whole lot of stuff that would make life a lot easier. And there's just so much. And it's not difficult. It's just, are you willing to? If you're willing to, you're going to need some guidance to get through the, what if this, what if that, it's a clear path. If someone tells you, then you don't have to think and guess. When you don't have to guess, it takes away the anxiety or the doubt if you're doing it the right way, if you're doing it the best way. So if it's a direct this, and you do that and you see positive results and it's not as difficult to do it, then I did my job, right? Says, and this is what I have been seeing is there's a lot of people over on, obviously on TikTok, like that's the most notorious one, but Instagram, YouTube, a lot of people present themselves as being a an expert on something. Like, why would you pick them to coach you? What would be the purpose? Like, what are they going to teach you? And a lot of these people are like in their early 20s. Like, what is your life experience? How many of these things have you tested? How are you battle ready to be telling other people? Like, it's like is there a wise general somewhere in that young body, like who's been through many battles and has come out the other end? Like, it's kind of curious to me, But they see a physique, they don't question because they don't want to believe that it's super physiological um, intervention with polypharma that did it. And I think also sometimes people want to be not so much encouraged, but reinforced or validate their desire to take those shortcuts. And if that's what you're looking for, I'm not your guy. My point and my and purpose is to help you get there and see the potential that you can do on your own naturally, simply for by making sure that your body has what it needs so that it can perform to the level that you probably never have been at. So before you make interventions, figure out what it is that you need to actually do to make all of you shine, right? Your vitality, and then continue to do the things that you've been doing, the effort that you're putting in the gym, the effort that you're putting into um, slimming down, and then also just keep a mind of your energy levels and how they, what are they going up? Are they going down? Is there, a plateau still? And then figure it out. But before you go jumping into polypharma land, the land of pinning yourself with all kinds of weird stuff, including Gila monster venom, there's a lot of fallout to that. There's a lot of people getting themselves in a situation that they don't even know what the outcome is going to be because there's no long-term studies on it. But I can tell you one thing, it's not natural. It's not a good idea. And I know in the fitness community, natural means if you've messed around with your hormones. No, I don't mean that. I mean, it's not nature natural. It's not when you're forcing your body in a way it's not supposed to go and you don't give it the support that it needs in order to operate faster. Because let me tell you this, if you have what your body needs, it's already going to be over once the period of adjustment occurs, it's going to be operating at a higher functional level. You have only so much ATP energy, and if you don't have the nutrients and the minerals that your body needs in order to supply all the functions that your body needs to carry out, you know, without you having to consciously think about them, the millions of chemical reactions and all the things and all the regulations and all the balance between all the minerals and everything else. If it's lacking, then it has already adjusted down to the level that it can still conduct those functions because they're necessary, but just at a much lower level because of just the limited amount of resources that it has. And then you eat something crappy and it strips away more of that, you're going to feel like crap. How many people feel tired after they eat? I mean, yes, digestion does take a lot of energy to do, especially if you're eating bad stuff. And that's kind of an indication that you were kind of on a shaky ground as it was with how much of the actual nutrients. You can eat a bunch of food, but that doesn't mean you're getting everything you need. It's not just calories, right? You can't just, food isn't just for that. If that were the case, then nobody would get scurvy just because they didn't have oranges, right? There's something else about it that you need. And there's about 90 other things that you need. But there's a couple other things that I would also, on the bad food list, I would add, at least in the beginning, because it's all you're going to be doing is banging your head against the wall if you don't. And I didn't realize until I was watching the video that Dr. Glidden was a vegetarian for 15 years. He's not anymore, but he used to be. And then, when you are, it's obvious that you probably would have been eating the 12 bad foods. Because what else is left, right? If you're not eating vegetables like every single day and fruit or tofu or whatever, then you're going to be eating some wheat, barley, rye, or oats or some product based out of it or some sort of. I mean, rice isn't on the list, but I wouldn't go super crazy on the rice either. I love rice. I love basmati rice. I love everything about rice for the most part, except it's super high carbs, which means super high glucose conversion, which means it's not a bowl of sugar, but it's gonna have that sort of effect on your insulin and all that other shit. So if you're trying to lose weight, overcarbing yourself without activity is probably not the best idea. You probably want to ease off on those. But anyhow, like this is why I'm setting this up because there's a lot of information. Depending on what direction you're going or what your actual personal goals are and what you're actually doing and what your actual habits are. A lot of this information is for when I'm doing a presentation like this, it's going to be generic because I'm just running scenarios, but I can fine tune that when I understand where you're at and what you do and what you're trying to do and how you eat, and then fix that or at least steer it without having to make super crazy life changes all up front because some people's personalities like that. But if they do, they probably have already made the changes on their own. Other and the majority of people want to be like it's a lot easier to ease yourself into something than it is to just like jump, like base jump off of it and just completely change something because it's going to be a shock to your system. Even if it's bad stuff, if you're used to it, again, habits and tendencies and impulses will make you feel like you still want it, even if it is causing damage. You get used to certain ways. Those things are the things that we can slowly back, keep get our distance from. It doesn't have to be all at once because doing it all at once is not it's not feasible for a lot of people. Some people it is, and that's great. If you can just drop it all and you just need to be told what to drop, fine, awesome. But it's August 26th right now. In 2 days, I'm gonna be 47. And like I said, I started probably my dad. I saw when I was at my dad's when I was a little kid. He had like like the curl bar with the wave in it, and I'm looking at it, and my dad does that. So of course, naturally, I wanted to lift weights, and he bought me a weeder set that had like the flies on the bench, and I used that thing all the way up until like high school, and then when I went into the college, and then the Coast Guard, and I used other stuff too, and went to the gyms and stuff like that. But it's been it's been a long time, and when I started watching Athlete X videos, probably 4 or 5 years ago, whatever, maybe longer, I was already doing things that I didn't see anybody else in the gym doing, but I did them because I felt um, activation in my muscles that felt good, and it felt like I was, you know, activating parts that I wasn't doing in the standard basic exercises that most people would just default recognize without even trying too hard, right? And when I saw Jeff Cavalier doing these things, I'm like, I've been doing this forever, just instinctively. And he's demonstrating these things in all these different variations. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing all those variations and more. And it's like, why? I didn't have anybody tell me to do that. I just went based off of my, you know, just listening to my body basically. If it felt good, it means I'm activating it and it's getting worked. So there's so many different things. And there's gonna be tutorials and all this other stuff on this site once I have time to do it. But really it's also for one-on-one. So there doesn't need to be a whole lot of stuff on the landing page, honestly. There'll be course things that people can generically look over. It's not really a course, but it's like a guide, right? And there'll be like different kind of like class or episodes of that coming soon. But just to get the details out of the way, I am a personal trainer, certified, and also I understand this, at least from my point of view, from the holistic point of view, from understanding what the MD's influence or the allopathy or the medical system influences when it comes to even fitness and personal training. I don't I don't fit that mold. Okay. So there's things that are going to be limiting that they'll teach you. The coaches are all going to have the same idea too. And they're always going to say, peptides. It's so unnecessary and unnatural. So I know there's people that advocate for it. That's their choice. That's what they want to do. And if they have some other like history, like I know somebody who has a history of, I don't remember if they were in Afghanistan or if they were in Gulf or if they were like in Iraq, but they were exposed to some stuff that caused them to have cancer, and they built themselves back using peptides. That was an exposure to some really harsh, heavy duty chemicals and or radiation. So that's a different case in that sense because I'm not addressing those things, and maybe if it's helpful, I would do anything besides chemo and radiation. So I would still try to see if what my body needs and if I'm giving it to it, and then try to flush out the bullshit that they subjected me to. And if a peptide helped that along the way, I would still be very skeptical of that because it's like what crutches are going to be, is the crutch there until you heal, or do you have to walk on it the rest of your life? And that's the whole reason why I think TRT it's a life sentence. If once you've hijacked your own body's functionality simply because you didn't think it was doing it hard enough or you wanted it to go more, you didn't give it a chance to be at its optimal level yet. And I know that I said the word optimal and the people don't like that. Because you haven't given it everything that it naturally needs to just get to there. So you already had some potential left that you never saw before you jumped over and basically abandoned your vital force, your connection with something higher and what it is that makes you who you are. You gave up kind of on yourself in a sense because now you're thinking that the only thing that can make you better is something that's artificial, and that's why the philosophy and the mindset. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be bumping against things that other people do and other people would recommend. I'm not going to do that. We're going to do everything the holistic and healthy way And when you see results in that, that could be sufficient for you to be motivated to continue on. And that is like really how it works and how it goes. I look better than I did a year and a half ago. I look better than I did 6 months ago, to be quite honest. I think I look healthier. I think I look a little younger, even though I'm 47 soon. I think my shape of my body and my face has definitely improved. And I haven't even been chewing on masseter gum. I haven't been getting the big, you know. So the resources that help inform the best core. Oh yeah, so it was like I have been interviewing and studying Dr. Glidden and Dr. Manzo for years. The resources that help inform the best courses for my clients comes from the best minds working to make a difference in the world. I show people how to support their own vital force. Be a fitwit, not a nitwit. Real health, fitness, and nutrition information you're not going to get from the major influencers on social media. And then I again said it's not necessarily their fault. They have default trusted an institution that claims to be the only authority on such matters. And it's damn clear when it comes to anything but surgery and trauma. That's not where they belong. They don't belong making any statements or decreeing anything when they don't even know what causes something and they don't think that that matters. They just know how to, oh, pain medicine, anti. Yeah, it's well, what caused it and why is it happening? Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll just replace the joint later. We'll fuse the spine. We'll pull out that pesky gallbladder that makes all the bile. No, no. So when you're over on the Fitwit, excuse me, I'm coughing on the mic. Keep on getting sore, like I have something stuck in my throat. There's a channel friends tier. Have access to a few things, and if when we do live streams from this specifically, you'll have access to it, and there'll be the community chat and all that, and then like general support with a highlighted tier here of the holistic coaching. So I kind of reiterate the same thing as combining for the first time the fitness and bodybuilding aspects with proper understanding of the best foods and the worst foods, nutrient needs of the body, and the best sourcing for these mineral and nutrients for maximum absorption that everyone will benefit from, whether you're 18, 80, or anywhere in between. Yeah, I just reiterate in this that I'm a certified personal trainer and wise enough, thanks to study, including what I've learned from Dr. Gooden and Dr. Manzo, but also because I've never really agreed with big pharma or anything that they influence uh, declares, since they have gone through a rampage, killing my family members through what anybody else would consider. Well, I mean, maybe not in this society the way they have us brainwashed, but I consider it murder. Um, and wise enough to think, thanks to the study, to know the limits of a common personal trainer's views. So the video tutorials and lessons, coaching, obviously, ad-free content, fan requests, where you get to, like, if you want to know about keto, then I make a video about keto, and that can be a whole series with a lot of coaching on that specific topic. Video calls and training demos, video demonstrations, and also cooking. So this is another aspect. When I was a vegetarian for about, like I said, 7, 5, 4, 5, I don't remember how many years it was. Long enough, too long. I was eating all those Morningstar things, but that's when I really started getting into my hot sauce, though, because that was, I had to make it interesting. Food would get really boring if you didn't over time, right? So I learned how to cook pretty. I mean, I grew up in my parents' Italian restaurant. My grandmother was the head cook, and my mother was the one cooking right alongside of her. And my dad, separately from the whole situation, an amazing cook, and he's the one that was making hot sauce when I was about 5 years old that I first tried, and I loved that. And then over time, I started fine tuning it into making it my own, and that's where my whole business for the last 13 years has kind of sprouted from. Is me making 30 plus varieties of hot sauce, going through farmers markets into the store, being offered a store, having a great run for a while, and then 2020 happened, and up in smoke, pretty much. So, anyhow, but anyway, the whole point of that is that I know how to cook, and there's things that you want to maybe try and apply to make the whole process a lot easier to do without processed foods. The process without the processed foods. So that's another difference between me and Greg just said is that he calls that oily fake cheese protein squares, the stuff that you peel. eh, Ugh, good God. He's all about the system, you know. It's always revert to fall back on the doctor, the doctor, the doctor, and people don't argue with doctors, so they don't argue with Greg. Whereas I question all of that, and I say, well, I understand that we need to protect ourselves from those people too, and what they tell us because we can't. This isn't a high trust society because those are that have the most influence also have the least amount of checks, balances, accountability, or consequences. So therefore, they have to be scrutinized more, not less. So the individualized coaching and consulting. This coaching tier with Dan is for the clients who want more one-on-one time to discuss their health, fitness, nutrition, proper cooking methods, and other matters. And we can expand into other topics. Like I said, I'm a small business owner. I know all that process from making one of the hardest things to actually bring to market without them trying to step in and make you do it through one of their already made industries. And then you basically buy your own product back from them to resell, which is awful, right? No, no, we'll do it. So having a food product is probably the hardest thing to bring to something. Like I was saying, the bureaucratic red tape. I don't even know how I was able to do it, but it was pretty awesome. Thank you very much, Edward Snowman. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it. But finally did it. The big and we're just uh he just bought 15 coffees on the Buy Me a Coffee link that we have here. So that was greatly appreciated. And we're still going to do our other show later on today. I just wanted to, we were supposed to have Dr. Glidden here, so I figured I'll just keep going and talk about this. He'll be here tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time or Mountain Standard this time of year. So where I was going with that. Yeah, so that process and just making a decision because I had so many things I wanted to do for so long. Like this is kind of like life coaching, but it's not counseling, right? It could be therapeutic. It could help you in different aspects, but it's more consulting than it is counseling, right? Suggestions and recommendations I would do if I was in that situation type of thing. But counseling is like something that gets into the gray area of are you a certified? Are you licensed? Da, da, da. Like it's like to give somebody advice or to tell them, hey, don't put your hand next to something that's hot. Like that would don't do that. You can't do that. That's you need to straighten that tie and be one of these guys in order to do that. It's like okay, well that's why there's problems because people aren't allowed to just help each other anymore or work together anymore to make benefit for everybody. You learn something, they learn something, and everything's wonderful. So yeah, I was at the ground level of my business the whole time. There was two people, me doing making everything and Rebecca doing the labeling, and then I would take it to the store. We used to live 18 minutes away, then we were 3 hours away because I didn't want my daughter to be subjected to the pediatricians in California. So I moved us away from their reach, and then I would commute 3 hours there, 3 hours back. And she's a healthy, awesome kid, and it was all worth it. But I did end up having to have a lot more labor costs. I know all the like I've gone through life and done all these things. I don't know what a 21-year-old can teach somebody. I'm not shitting on them, but I think a lot of people just look at a physique and go help, you know, and that's fine. But how much help are they giving you versus how much fluff are you paying for that? And what's the value? What's the actual ROI on that? Are you going to be able to do anything? Is it too generic? Is it actually useful, helpful? Is it cookie cutter regurgitation? There's people out there that charge. I've looked at these sites. There's women out there who have then been caught scamming and robbing people who charge $500 a month for their services of coaching. And that's like a common price, $500 and $300. I can't bring myself to do that. I mean, I think the information here is probably a thousand times better than theirs because they're going to walk you right into the MDs again, and that's where I think is. I hope people watching this know that that's a danger zone, danger zone, and that philosophy of fall back onto polypharma is not something that I advocate at all. I'm gonna show you how to not do that, right? And let's see. This option, could, like I guess, it could be therapeutic. And I also notice because I'm in this situation, right? Often in my life, I think, and I think that's what helps me have an imagination and also be kind of a self-contained to where I don't need a whole lot of other people's approval either. I notice myself and others not having many in their life they trust to have real meaningful talks without fear or frustration with those people that they'd be interacting with. It's like my limited scope of people. Like I prefer to be, you know, with my thoughts. Like I like going on a hike and I like going with friends places and all that stuff. That's all fine and great. But when it comes to things where, maybe the problem is with somebody that everybody knows, you don't want to bring it up with them because people talk. So who do you talk to about it? Or you have a bigger problem that these people wouldn't have any understanding of, or there's something else that they don't know about the somebody else that's messing with. There's so many different things. This tier provides more individual conversations rather than just group streams or Q&A types of interactions. So that's all that stuff. Like if you just need to bounce ideas off somebody, that's also another thing. Like I said, I created a business. I did it once. I could do it again. I just didn't know that I was gonna have to do it like this month. There was man, everybody, and I left the store to another person in 2022 because I held on for 2 years after what they did to us all, and I saw all those other small businesses fall away and other restaurants close and all that stuff. People I knew, people at farmers markets that I had come up with, and they were still doing farmers markets. They all disappeared, and they were really good. They had really good products. I enjoyed their food and stuff, and it sucked, but it was also happening to me at the same time, to where I finally handed the keys over to a friend who was going to take it over, and because it's a state park with a theme, he had to keep it a hot sauce store. So he was wholesale purchasing for me, and it was pretty much every month for the last 4 years, except for this last 6 months. And it's been very sporadic. I can't guarantee or count on it anymore for it to be part of my monthly take in, and it's like a huge chunk. So I am once again like people who have gone through shit are the people who you can talk to about stuff because they're not just hypothetical, they're not detached and distant somewhere else. The level of like in the moment and what do you want? How do you want to say empathy or the ability to put myself in the shoes? Because I've been in a lot of such situations and scenarios. And I'm not like out of them. I still have to figure out how to restart my hot sauce business basically because if that store is failing, and I like again, that's why I let it go in the first place is because that area was there were so many restrictions from other countries and it's a tourist area, which was perfect for the time prior to 2020. Right next to an airport, right next to a bunch of hotels, right next to a trolley station. You couldn't ask for a better location until the world's rules changed, like in the inverse way. And nobody was going anywhere. And a lot of people probably had disposable income issues at that point because of everything that was going on. So that all made sense. So I held on for 2 years. And then almost exactly 7 years from the day we opened the store, I handed the keys over. And it was working out that way because we were getting consistent orders. But now his store, he was down so much from comparing last year's to this year's for the months of summer, which are should because everybody's out of school and everybody's traveling, should be the biggest part of the year. And I couldn't even imagine like when I had the store, I never had that a drop like that ever. We were climbing every year up until 2020. So it's a sign of maybe everybody going to internet because they've been spooked out of I don't know what the hell it is. Are all I think everybody's department stores, if you're not a Walmart or a Target, are probably suffering just a little bit. And so yeah, so I gotta understand that that's not something that I can put all my colorful Easter eggs in anymore and just think that it's just going to always be there. So this is something that I kind of saw coming for a little while, even before there was like too many issues. We had one really crappy Christmas a couple years back where again that should have been a busy time, and so I made adjustments and started making moves then, but it was just hit a lot of walls. Like I was even prepared to start working for Allo and some other places, and I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what's up with that whole situation, but I know one thing: being somebody who's owned your own business for a while, you almost put yourself on a blacklist because nobody wants to hire somebody who has that. Either I don't know if it's the gap in employment because technically you were employed and you're managing a store, or you're doing whatever you're doing, you're managing other employees, but I think there's a bias against that because you're already managing. You're already managerial level, right? In that sense, because you're running your own stuff. And I think the people that you interact with when you're hiring, I honestly believe this. If I'm wrong, you tell me. See that as a threat to their own position because you having and to do stuff and know how to do stuff and then maybe not being so skilled in where they're at, but they're faking it till they make it type of thing, and maybe not ever making it. I think maybe sometimes they're the ones who are deciding to have less qualified people than you in those roles because I think they feel like it's job security if they don't hire you. Does that make sense? Because then the comparison isn't so off when they bring on somebody and they're still domineering over them or whatever. They're shining over that person who's new rather than bring on somebody who's like, okay, yeah, I'm used to doing 300K gross a year. It's like, that's it's a little different for them, right? So I don't know what the issue is, but I'm more interested in doing what I can to get Dr. Glidden's name out there, to get people understanding about Azure Standard and Eiffel Health stuff so that they try implementing that in their lives. And I'm more interested, like my passion is helping. Like the whole reason why I have the Ballbusters channel and why I have a Fitwit and a Dr. Glidden and Friends Health Solutions show is because my passion is in interacting with people and making a positive impact on their lives. And the one thing that's always been a danger to people is mainstream beliefs and things, regardless if it's health, history, politics, present day news, withdrawing yourself from the stuff that they want you to pay attention to and get discouraged by and frustrated with is saving you lost time, wasted energy, wasted emotions, wasted stress. You don't need to do that. You can just figure out what the right thing is and put your energy to that. Build yourself up and then kick ass. Kick ass in whatever else it is that you're going to do because you'll already have built the discipline in stages in some other area. So what's great about fitness and like working out for me is like there's a consistency, there's a dedication, and there's a confidence that comes from the improvement. Once you can do that and make an improvement in one aspect of your life, it's so much easier for you to have the confidence and the drive and the being sure of yourself that you can do it in something else, and it's easier for you to make decisions because if you never execute on any of the great ideas that you have, because you have too many great ideas and you're not sure which one you want to pursue first, you can be stuck in paralysis by analysis for the best years of your life and never ever start one of them or really put enough effort into one of them to for them to become something. And I went full on like there is a truth to this. The universe or whatever gets out of your way when you've made a commitment to a certain thing. And it even helps you because there's no reason why I should have ever been able as one guy who had nothing and no as far as anybody I could talk to, bounce ideas off, or figure out how to start this business. There's no reason why I should have ever been able to acquire these catch 22 nearly impossible permits to get, but I did. And that was a little bit of the, like that's the universal magic that was happening because I made a decision and I went with it. And that is super huge and important because holy crap, how many people have really good ideas but they don't have the either the confidence, they've been told or they've convinced themselves that they're lacking some element like startup capital or it's just too hard to do this thing. I knew all that was going to be difficult, but I didn't realize how difficult, but I still was able to accomplish it. And how crazy is it that we're at a farmer's market one day after me probably doing them for about a year and a half, and I met Rebecca maybe like 8 months into it or so. So she was standing at the booth. I went to go grab something to come back. I think I was bringing us back coffees or something like that, and she was working the booth. Some guy came up to her, asked her to try a sample. We didn't know she didn't know who he was. We don't know who he was, and he looked like he was struggling. Like after he was walking away, so Rebecca ran and grabbed like one of the waters out of her cooler and just said, "Here, just have this, so that you can feel better, or whatever." And he came around later on while I was there and said, "Would you guys be interested in sitting down and talking with us about having your own store?" It was that one little act of kindness that to somebody we had no idea who they were, what they could. We didn't know what the we didn't think that they were going to offer us anything, right? And then we were sitting. Next thing we know, a couple weeks later, we're sitting down and hashing out the details and basically coming off the streets, right? Because we're doing farmers markets outside, having to set up and take down every day. And I sometimes I do two a day, depending on what day of the week it was. I was doing 7 markets in 6 days, and just to have a place where you can just set everything up and be like, okay, it's done. We just locked the door now. Really, really? That's all you got to do? Just lock the door? Oh man, fist bump. you know, like that. Those were some good times. Those are some good times, and it worked great. And we were confident enough to start a little family because of how much our lives changed because of that store. I mean, we were doing all right to pay our bills and everything. Uh, and I was happier than working at the electricians union doing the farmers markets, and we had some really good ones. Our Sunday market was amazing, and we got to meet a lot of people and the interactions and you know you learn a lot about yourself. Like, how bad do you want it? Do you want it? Are you afraid to talk to people? Are you gonna hide in your shell? Or are you gonna be outgoing and friendly and helpful? So there's a lot of that in just things that if you're cognizant of them, help you in all the aspects of your life. The networking, yeah, networking to me it depends on how the frame of mind that you're having there. Is it because I want to talk to that person because I know what they can do for me, or is it because I want to share and spread positivity and like Rebecca and I said, like your success is my success. We bring each other up. The rising tide lifts all boats, as Dr. Glidden says. I know it's not his saying, but he says it. So that's where I'm at with this. The Fitwit holistic coaching is here. Live chats, demos, ad free content, all that stuff, coaching. And it's nearly a fraction, literally a fraction of what other people charge for the same thing. And the information is going to be more useful, more helpful. And just because there's not a lot of content on the actual Patreon, that's kind of irrelevant to the point where we're going to be doing stuff right off of here once there's people here gathered. So one-on-ones and then like Q&A sessions as a group one-on-ones that you can, talk to me, not just chat and type. And first thing I want to do is learn about you and what it is that where you're at, where you've been, where you're at, and where you want to go, and what your level of commitment is, and what your personality type is as to whether or not we take one approach or the other, so that we understand. The whole point here is it being successful and long lasting, not something that you get and then because I can tell you to stop eating, and then oh yeah, you're gonna lose weight, but that's not sustainable. The whole thing is like you can never take something away without replacing it with something else, right? Because it's like with if you learn something about, let's say, a religion or a political position, like you can't shatter somebody's worldview of something and then just leave them without that, without anything. You have to give them, but here's the positive news. Here's the way forward. If you don't have that, like there's so many people out there that will be like, when it comes to politics, this is wrong. You shouldn't do it that way. Any ideas? Any suggestions? They're just like, they don't have any ideas of their own. They just know that they don't like that one. It's like, okay, well, you come up with a better one, and let's run it through the thing. Let's at least do the mental breakdown of it, and we'll run it through our, let's see how let's follow the logic to the end and see if it's a good one. There, we'll roll with it. So it's funny. It's funny how people are like that. It's like that's trash. It's like okay, Mister Idea Man, why don't you tell us something? But yeah, no, everything about like political and everything like that. It's all bad ideas on purpose. It's designed to be terrible. Aren't you lucky? We can't have nice things. Let's have a look at the chat real quick. Uh, oh wow, that's a lot. Oh hi, Karen. Oh, that movie, man, that's hilarious. Oh hi, Dave. What? No, it wasn't Dave. What? I can't. Mark. It was. Oh hi, Mark. I used to get weird looks at the gym too. Says Voodoo Ranger. Maybe I put that up there. I like making up my own workouts. Yeah, I mean, once you feel, especially with shoulders, there's so many variations, and you're gonna hit a little bit of something everywhere. And just it might even just be new to you, but other people might do it. But I only knew one other guy who, and he was one of the trainers there. He was like their top trainer, and he would walk by me every once in a while and just be like nod his head in approval. And one day I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, you're doing a great job or whatever." And then he showed me some other things, and then I was like, "All right, cool, thank you very much for that." And it was just like a friendly thing. And then we were like, when we saw each other, like, how's it going, bud? But it was cool because he was kind of like assuring me that I was doing things, and he was kind of like impressed that I was even doing the things because a lot of people just do the cookie cutter crap, and then that's it. I used to use Voodoo Ranger says I used to use those giant rubber bands and the cable box to throw punches, kicks, and different angles with weights resistance. Just made sense to me, but I didn't see anyone else do it. You know what I do is, how they have the oh, what do you call it, the pulleys, and you can adjust the heights. I put them at shoulder level like this, and then I'll put my boxing stance, and then and then I'm only obviously you have your like whatever your proper foot forwards. I'm not actually changing my foot positioning, but I'm going through the motions with the resistance from the cables, and I just step out far enough so that when I'm, there's tension on it regardless if I'm holding my guard up, which helps me remind me to keep my guard up because I have tension on it, and then when I'm throwing, I'm making sure that I'm paying attention to the execution, the twist, and stuff like that. And I was doing that for quite a while when I was still going to the gym here. And it was an MMA gym. Damn, I missed that place. Yeah, that's cool, man. Aloha snack bar. Edward Snowman. You know what we need to do? We need to change this. Hold on. Let's change the style. We gotta make it bigger. Boom. There we go. For today. We're gonna make it bigger and bolder today. Oops. What the fuck? He calls American cheese protein. Yeah, yeah. You know who Greg Doucette, the parrot from Aladdin. Uh, he's he says buy my freaking cookbook. He said, and this is what he also says. This is why it like people's cognitive dissonance, and they don't even understand what they're saying. Like, how does it sound good for you to tell people that because of a study? This is what I mean. This is the mental level of people. He's like, I was a grade A student. I was top of my class when I got my master's in kinesiology. Exercise kinesiology or whatever. I'm like, that's great. You didn't question the answers. You didn't question the authority. You didn't question the lurking beast and how well they've been handling our health so far, and how well do you think they're handling our fitness? You know, so he will say things like protein squares when it comes to that oil thing that's not even actual milk, that's wrapped in plastic. Protein squares. He's all about processed foods. He tells everybody that they're being silly. He said that because of a study. Who do you think is behind the study that says that diet soda is better for you losing weight than drinking water? So I guess God and nature should have had soda running in the rivers instead of water, or soda in the wells, because that's better for you. He doesn't stop to think that maybe there's a little bit of bias there, or that maybe the results is like, are these meaningful? Do they actually apply, or is this just the one time they ran the numbers, and like what arbitrary other things and variables that they did not account for in these people who they were studying and their weight loss goals or whatever? Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh no, well, how are you losing weight? Are you dehydrating yourself because of the soda? Are you, you know what I mean, versus water where it's more hydrating? Is it some other factor that's happening in your body because maybe your bones are being eaten away by the freaking acid that you're pouring down your stomach? Like, who knows what the other variables are? But just to say it's better for you, by what percentage? Is it a significant amount, or is it like what do they call it, a statistical insignificant amount? And why would you even say that and then say buy my freaking cookbook? It's $150 cookbook. And he's like, well, I've learned these recipes when I was bodybuilding all those years because I wanted to blah blah blah, and I didn't want to give up this, and I wanted all my protein, yada yada. I'm like, these aren't really that difficult. There's not that, like, I was as creative and more simply by being in the kitchen and loving cooking, because my whole family is Italian, and my dad's a little Italian, but he's mostly German. But I was surrounded by people who love to cook, so I made a point to make sure I knew how to cook. Friends of mine that I hung out with, they taught me how to make what was it? My first what was the name of the thing? I like a really good Alfredo sauce, and I was doing it with like the spinach cheese tortellini, and I was making. It took a little while to do the Alfredo just the way like you're supposed to, like from scratch. I figured out how to do that and started making like I also like cream of mushroom soup from scratch and clam chowder. I loved making that stuff too. Anyway, but yeah, he'll say things like that, right? He says it's like 1/3 cheese. It's diluted with cream. Is it even diluted with cream? Like, that sounds like too much of a natural thing. Soybean oil for the shitty ones. Yeah, yeah, I know. But this is the credibility problem here, right? He sees protein, he sees calories. He doesn't think deeper, but he makes fun of other people, and everybody buys it because of his cult of personality, strength of conviction, and they're not there yet to question these things yet. So supporting the system doesn't, in the way the system and society operates, works in his favor because most people don't question it, but it's still wrong, right? So if, like, that's why the Fitwit thing is so different, is because it's for people who already have a higher level of understanding of things, right? Because otherwise they're going to be happier being they're going to be what do you call it, reinforcing the shit that they already believe, which is all incorrect. and it's all detrimental. And that's the reason why they're in the situation they're in right now. But they don't ever see that for what it is. Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe I'm sick and I feel old right now because of the shit that I believe in that the society tells me, or that the authorities that pretend and they don these titles to make them look, that they have some sort of knowledge when they don't. But hey, they control the studies, they control the quote unquote science and medical science. It's all the same basic cult, and their healthcare is simply a reflection of the other shit that they want you to believe, which is incorrect, so that you don't live very long. Like, what are they the same people that are talking about less people on the planet? Do you think they're trying to keep you around longer? Probably not. Think they want you healthy? Do you think they want you sharp to understand what they're up to? Probably not. So yeah, it's not conspiratorial to know that you're in a goddamn prison. It's not conspiratorial to realize that maybe you should make a change. It's not conspiratorial to think, hey, they also want to do certain things to my family, and they've been pushing death shots for the last 5 years, and actually your whole life. Maybe it's time to stop thinking their way, because it might be crucial to your survival to think independently. And that's kind of what the whole thing is. The coaching is going to be for people who are aware of that, or want to be aware of that, and have the drive and motivation to make changes in the life that are not like everything else, because then it would be everything else and it would have no value, right? This is going to be something that can actually bring people to a better place, should they choose to accept it. It's great for it's great for hot sandwiches, but it's not cheese for eating on its own. And I love cheese. Yeah, no, I don't ever eat the processed stuff. Oh, yes, that is what I do. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about having a lot of ideas and not. Yeah, I know. I hear you, man. Vita Ranger says also great ideas, and I don't try to actually do any of them. Why do we do that? It's lots of reasons why. Because if you feel like you're giving up on the other eight to go after the one, will one of those other eight make me happier? Are they a quicker road to success so that I can, you know, take care of the here and now? That's why. That's why. So you got to find, is one of these things going to make you feel like you're not going to work even though you're working your ass off? And is it a thing that you can actually see something be made out of it? Like, I wouldn't say like I wanted to play the bass better, but I didn't go after that. I went after the hot sauce. You know, I wanted to be in. I wanted to do more production assistant stuff because I was doing that for a little while when I was in San Diego, and I little tiny part in a short movie, and I was a production assistant on it as well as that little part that I played. But would I have wanted to try to pursue that, or go after the thing that has a family history in it because of our cooking background? I grew up in an Italian restaurant, for God's sake, and my dad, and that connection, that bond there to bring his sauce into the world, but kind of because it was still kind of, I had already made it different, but in honor of his, right? Because it's not exactly his. And then I made 29 other varieties that he hadn't. But that's what made me happy, the passion to do that. Money helps to start the stuff that, well, I mean, I was in the electricians union, but I didn't have like, okay, I need to save up for this permit. I need to save up for this stuff. I need to put money aside for that thing. But that wasn't like I had, whew, no, I never had that, and I didn't have to. And that was for that particular, type of endeavor. If there's something that you need investment capital from somebody who's going to then be able to control your destiny, maybe you don't want to do it that way. You may find something else that's going to make you happy, right? Edward Snowman says, it's like when I tried a yoga class at the gym, and it was like we were doing the same stretches I normally do by feel, but it was annoying to have to do it on command. Right. Right. And it actually makes you realize that these people, if they need to be trained to do that, It's like, is that really a thing? Like, you know, by being in touch with yourself and in touch with the reality and the sensations and like what feels good to do these things, but then to be now there's structure and I'm the authority on something. It's like, stop, back it up, give other people a chance to breathe. You're not. It's like the main character syndrome of the person who's telling you, we're all people, man. And if it's simple, don't make it out to be too complex, right? Because then you're not being honest with yourself. You're. I think people who do that, like the person you're like what you're talking about, it's like being done on command. People who do that, I think, are very insecure with their plight or their place in life. I don't think they realize. I think they kind of recognize that there might not be a lot, and other people can do the same thing. So they just have to be more aggressive about it. Is how they turn it into something. It's like, what, I have more conviction in the way I do it. It's like, okay, is it really? It's like trying to make something that's not that difficult or that crazy to understand into something more difficult, so people stay glued to your commands. It's so silly how people talk and act. And then Voodoo says, "Yeah, that's what I mean by a cable box. I don't know if that's the correct name for it. Yeah, the cables. Yeah, there's universal, and there's all kinds of other stuff. But we had one that was good for. It was like a standing one. They had a really long one that had the pull-up bars across and the benches and seats. But then there was just one that was the small machine and the pulleys, that would raise up and down. And there might have been something else on there. Maybe not. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, I was whenever that one was free, I would use that to do, you know. Yeah, exactly. Better than water. Like, yeah, he calls it pop. Diet pop is better for you to drink than water. So that's what it is. Going around saying that is so silly because it's like, even if, oh, I got a study told you that. So something with chemicals that's not natural, that's also carbonated, which is bad for your digestion, which means you don't absorb your minerals that you do get or anything that you get from your food if you're drinking it with food, is somehow better than drinking water, which is what we're all intended to drink. How is that a thing? How did somebody say that without realizing how silly they sound? Oh, I got to write a letter to Cody. Um, I'm sending Deadeye some hot sauces. Singles are like cheese drippings and soybean oil jello. When people just if people just step back and added it up, and then he's like, what he did. He made tens of millions of dollars on that cookbook, and he has a version 3.1 out now. Good for him, I guess. When his Ferula Max comes out and it starts you know chemically castrating people because it's a SERM, and the length of time that he wants people to be on it is way too long because it was never intended for continuous day-to-day use. It totally shocks your system and it causes your body to dump as much testosterone as it can because it's in fear of being feminized. To continually do that to yourself isn't good because eventually your body gives up and burns out the HPT, hypothalamus pituitary testes, stops communicating. There's no FSH and there's no LH and FSH even being produced anymore in parts of your body down there that are supposed to do things. Remember we talked about necrosis, not nigrosis. That's when you buy a $300 pair of shoes and you're still taking the bus. Like that's necrosis. Getting evicted with a $700 chain on your neck, like that. That's priorities. Yeah, or having like a $5,000 sound system in a car that can't move because it's broken down. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that got me weird looks. I'd stretch like a mofo before working out, basically yoga. It took me a long time, and I do every muscle group. It makes a big difference. I've never like every once in a while because I was in karate. I was in Penchak Silat growing up, so we did a lot of stretching. But that's because I was doing a lot of kicks, and part of the whole action would be the stretch. But I never really got into um, doing it too much. Like I like to like if I feel tense, I like feeling my muscles, right? Like I like feeling that they're there and being consciously aware of it. So I like to activate them every day. So when I was going to the gym and I had time to, because I was working mortgages, and as long as I was selling, closing loans, I could have pretty much a 2 hour lunch break if I felt like it, and I would just go back after the day was over to World's Gym or whatever. I was the majority of my stretching was just kind of like doing some of this, taking lighter weights, getting the chest out and getting the shoulders, and just doing a see. I prefer warm ups rather than stretching. So warm up with a much lower weight. If I'm doing something like if I'm running or if I'm trying to, which I don't run, but if I'm doing something where I feel like I could tear something, then I guess I would stretch. But also, in addition to that, also consider that I'm doing exercises that gymnasts are doing for strengthening their muscles in ridiculous ways because of the way that they hold their whole body weight up with stuff. So there's a type of you could say it's a bicep curl because it kind of is, but your elbow almost goes hyperextended. And I do this with the cables or with a small weight, very small weight. But you start off and you figure out your resistance to it. But that when you stop, and another way you can take it is like there's a long bar that you can put on um, one of the cables and then just drop the cable to the lowest setting and then put your hands behind your back with the bar stretched behind you and then walk out and then just kind of like here, let me see, like go like this and just keep stretching it and just hold it for as long as you can. And this will get you into a way of actually building your bicep by this way rather than curling it. It's a really interesting thing that happens, but you kind of like raise up if you're doing the right, and this isn't meant for anything except your biceps. So you want to kind of like let that go slack, not so heavy a weight that you're gonna crunch backward, but you build that up over time. It's really good for your tendons and ligaments too because it's strengthening them. And you'll be surprised how much you feel it afterwards, and it's not a lot of weight. And then you go back to doing your other curls, and you'll see the formation of your muscle change and how it's growing. It's really cool thing. Like the people that do the rings, those people are freaking strong as shit. They're usually short like me too. All right, so we already did an hour and a half. I think everybody should consider what it is that they honestly think they can trust in a system. I mean, again, this is a really good example, though, right? Is Greg Doucette, who I don't really have a personal problem with at all, but he's about to unleash something on the world that because he's all for PEDs and he's all for peptides. He's not all for PEDs, but he took them for 10 years. Now he tells people that you're going to regret it. Okay, but you're still a polypharma guy telling people to go get on peptides rather than because you have no concept or understanding of what nutrients are and what you need. You treat food like calories in, calories out. Is it though? Or is that only true when you're nutrient deficient that your body's going to be storing shit because it's in starvation mode? Not so much because you don't have enough calories, not so much because you're not eating enough, but because you're not getting what you need out of your food that your body is trying to store things. So it's treating what you're eating differently. So when you have the nutrients that you need, and again, I've said this in the past, I don't know if I actually posted this video yet or not. Let me know let me know how this is wrong because when you start taking the nutrients and the supplements that you need, not extra ones, but the ones that your body actually needs because it's not in the food anymore, and you're not even trying to lose weight and you start to, explain to me how that happens because it does happen. And it's because your body treats the food that you're taking in. Now, if you're eating shit and garbage and you're inflaming it, then you're gonna get puffed up anyway. You're gonna look puffy and bloated because your body's on fire and it's from the inside, and you're gonna have retain water. That part aside, if you're just taking the nutrients that you want, your body's processing the stuff that you're throwing at it differently. It's not scared for the future, so it's not trying to store everything that it can. And that's it. Actually, I mean, that's the way I envision what's happening. But I don't know what the actual mechanism. That's just my assumption and observation as to why that happens. But it does happen. If when you have all the nutrients that you need, your cravings and impulses will be different. You might still feel that way because of the habit. Like if every day you drink a coffee, you have a cigarette. One day you don't have the cigarette, you're going to be thinking about it. You're not necessarily dependent on it. Some people think they are, but it's also habit, right? Or any other thing. Like I have butter on my toast every day. This day I didn't have butter. It's like, why would you have the toast? I wouldn't eat toast anyway, but it's okay. It's just, when you make a habit change, it's more of retraining your brain a little bit, and that's why replacing something with something else rather than having nothing at all is a better way to success. You can't just take something away from somebody without giving them something else because you can train something into a habit. It's hard to train a negative, right? The lack of something, because then you're still going to be, shaking, like trying to like figure out how to what am I going to drive the how am I going to ground this electrical impulse in my head so it's not still vibrating through my body. Like, what copper wire do I need to grab, or what I need to take my shoes off and get on the earth? Like, how do I get this feeling out of me? uh, so like I said, yeah, it's always better to replace rather than to erase, right? All right, guys. Do me a favor because you know everybody, like I said, rising tide lifts all boats. You're going to benefit from going to Dr. Glidden's membership site, so that's why I'm all about supporting him and promoting him. Join the holistic health revolution at Dr. Glidden's membership site here. And there's the link. Use that link and that link only. And then you can use that code, and this one should also work. Okay. We had, I think, 3 people in the last week join. And maybe this weekend I'll even do another, what do they call that thing? Another marathon, or at least one of the days. And then it says get holistic healing, nutrient, cooking, fitness, and fitness coaching, but also all around, you know, consulting. Right? If I don't, there's 2 things that I will be able to provide for you. Not just demos, not just showing how to do the exercise, not just getting you towards your goals or putting you in the right mindset of something or getting the right minerals to you in an absorbable form. All those things are super important. But I don't I'm how do I put this? I know a lot of different stuff, like a lot of stuff. And I love being able to share that. And if somebody asks me a question, even if I know the topic really well, I still go and seek out because I know how to filter bullshit, right? And where the sources are coming from and all that. Like I wouldn't go around saying that soda is better for you than water because there's a internal common sense that triggers before you would regurgitate something that a funded study has spit out onto the world, right? It's just more parlor tricks, but Greg drops them every time. He always talks about it. So even when he's discussing somebody else and that person is absolutely missing something, he then will say something that he's also missing. It'll be evident that he's also not got the full picture. So it's like people on the lowest level, highest amount of money in their pockets, but lowest level, or maybe not the lowest, but they're a couple notches up from the bottom, and they're making fun of the person that's just a half a notch beneath them. And yeah, that actually works, but there's just a lot more for them to learn, and because of their total omission and not knowing what they don't know and how that affects their outlook and how that affects how they give other people advice, it's so dramatic. And oh, will you achieve results? Yeah, but is it the healthiest way? No, it's not at all. It's not at all. That's a hard no. And is that going to be lasting? And are you going to put yourself in a bigger deficit or a bigger problem in the future because you never actually addressed the thing that your body was screaming out for in the very first place? And that is why it's such concrete, solid ground that I stand on. And like I said, I like to find more information, and I'm a good researcher, but I have a lot of stuff I can already share. And keto might be one of those things that I go into detail on more. I know there's people who have done it before that were interested in me talking about it. But yeah, okay. So the leave Big Pharma behind, click it, and then when you get there, right here it says members. It'll say join if you're not already subscribed, and test it. The monthly and the annual, both of those, the coupon code should work on. Okay, and you can use Fitwit or Ball Busters. I haven't seen anybody come over with a Fitwit yet one yet, but of course they've been using Ball Busters for the last few years, so it's probably just a habit. That's it for them to continue to do it that way. And get holistic healing, nutrient cooking, and fitness coaching. And like I said, consulting right here, patreon.com. And this is what we were looking at here. All right. And more will be added. I'm going to have to change that to 47 here in 2 days. 47 years old. Lots of experiences under my belt and here to help. And if you don't get any, if you honestly can tell me that there's no value that is produced from that, then that's your choice to choose to do something else. But I honestly don't think that anybody's going to do that. I guarantee that there's not going to be a lot of people that do that or any, because unless they're trying to shrug their inability to want to change anything about themselves onto me, then it would be different because then it's obvious what they're doing there, right? The Azure standard link is right there. Patreon link. Jump onto the coaching. Let me help you out. The Azure standard link here, and then there's the 90 essential nutrients. The code is BB5, Bravo Bravo 5. At checkout, it says apply code in little tiny blue letters. You got to be careful that you don't miss it. And then you put on the code. And in addition to all of that, you also get some cash back from Azure in a way that it's credited. You can choose to apply it to your very next order. So you're getting a discount plus you're actually earning credits. So it's a bigger discount if you think about it, because the next one is going to be your discount from the BB5 plus. You could add that money back that you earned to that order. All right. My website's here. Are you guys still seeing the screen? Yeah, you are. And code Paradas for 15% off the hot sauce. Dr. Glidden's membership site. You can go right there from here and click that. There's the doctor. I'm sorry. It's actually Dr. Monza did create these, developed the 90 essential in the whole food form for Azure, and there's code BB5 right there. I actually got my minerals I got to take still. Got the core copper here. The whole food multivitamin. And the IP6 Supreme with inositol, which is calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and inositol to help balance out that iron. Helps fight that chronic fatigue feeling. And that's all part of the 90 through Azure. The only thing that's missing there is the cod liver oil. So it says revealed. You can click here to go right to Dr. Gooden's dedicated channel on Rumble. But above here, if you want Dr. Monzo's book for the energetic healing, you can just click it, and then go to where it says education. There's a book, and it's already applied when you go to checkout to discount. So make sure you see the one that says book. There's cards, which I think it also works on that. And then you go like that. And then make sure unless you want international. Healing Made Simple is a condensed ebook. You also get a discount on that. But the binder book, it's like this guy right here. It's a very heavy book. It's like 11 pounds or something. It's a big one. Dr. Monzo. And Fitwit, that's the YouTube channel. That's not the Patreon channel. So the Fitwit brings you over here. Should be following and subscribing. There's a lot of information on there already. Some of my Dr. Gooden stuff. I put the live streams up there. And there you go. Okie doke. All right. There's only so many minutes in a day. Gotta try to get everything done. But you guys have an amazing, awesome day. And I'll see you on the other side of Patreon as your coach. Later.